What's going on? I'm Jacob Ponzi. I'm struggling with a cripple
Joyful life.
and welcome to Ponzi Gaming.
I don't wanna know, baby. I don't wanna know, yeah.
Pits? Sweat stains? Minimal? Wipe down the mustache? Yeah. Hello, ladies!
Welcome to Under the Radar, guys, where we review games that have fallen under the radar over the course of time. Today we're going to be tackling Tony Hawk's Underground. Now, with Tony Hawk's Underground, this is a game that I would play as a kid growing up, and pretty much most of the foundation of a lot of the videos and things that I review, I guess, is kind of where I'm going with that.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
Nonetheless, it is a fantastic skating game that came out in the very early 2000s. It had just broken out of the Pro Skater series onward to doing the Underground, and then they had like almost like a little trilogy going on with it, with Tony Hawk's American Wasteland kind of capping it off, which I guess isn't technically an Underground game, but nonetheless. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Had a little bit of something caught in my throat there. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this thing. Hooray! So if you live under a rock, or if you're a little younger, you may have never heard of Tony Hawk's Underground.
Who are you people?
Tony Hawk's Underground is an open-world skating game that was executed near perfectly, and it's an amazing successor to the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. Now, these series actually existed between like the late 90s and the early 2000s, this one being launched in 2003. Every level feels very satisfying, albeit a little small, and there are plenty of
Killer spots.
as our player would say, to skate around. I guess you could say that my biggest gripe with this game is that there aren't many pedestrians, so these open levels can feel a little bit empty. I do like what they did with having cars driving through each level, but let's consider the Grand Theft Auto series at this time, which was in 2002. Now, this game launched in 2003, keep that in mind.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
Now, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City both launched before this game. There were also open worlds, the levels were larger, you know, the world itself was one big continual area. This one is just chunks of levels stacked against each other. And even though those worlds were larger, they had plenty of pedestrians, even if most of them were reused. I will give it to Tony Hawk's Underground, though the graphics do feel a lot better in this game, and it feels a little bit more responsive. But in those games, you at least felt like the worlds were alive, and not as plain as in Tony Hawk's Underground. But that's probably my only gripe, as the rest of this game is very solid, even for the time period in which it launched. I wish I could show you guys the soundtrack of this game, but all of it is pretty much copyright. So here's a list of songs, go look them up. As a brief look on the Wikipedia page, it had actually won MTV's Videos Music Award for Best Game Soundtrack in 2004. That's pretty freaking fancy. Like, that's really fancy. Kiss was a big portion of this game, we'll get to that. That being said, if I could play I Wanna Rock and Roll All Night as the back music for all of this video without getting copyright striked, then I totally would, because that song is my jam. But instead, here's my rendition of it. I wanna rock and roll all night. Now, this game has multiple modes: story, high score / free skate, create / play goals, 2-player, multiplayer. And yes, this game did support online play, believe it or not, although very limited. It wasn't really a whole lot you could do. Basically, you could just play with like one of your buddies. It also had create a trick, create a park, and create a skater. As you can see, a massive focus on this game was the creation. And for 2003, they nailed it. Personally, out of all of, and we're just going to abbreviate Tony Hawk's Underground, and we're just going to call it Thug. The game refers to itself that way. This makes it a little bit easier to say. Now, out of all of the Thug games, this one has the most interesting story, in my opinion. You start in New Jersey. I'm a New Yorker, so if you live in New Jersey, lots of jokes will be made, and I apologize ahead of time.
Next to another wonderful place called New Jersey. That is the amount of applause that New Jersey usually gets.
Right from the start, they throw you into Create a Skater. Plenty of customization options, and I wanted my skater to look just like me. Wait, this isn't like me. There we go. That's it. Just like me. The footage you're seeing is actually a perfect mirror image of myself, and is in no way, shape, or form is this gentleman any buffer or beefier than I am in real life.
Yeah, buns and ties.
Once you are created, you finally get to hop into the overworld. Personally, I find it worth it to level up your skating stats right off of the bat, regardless of how annoyingly difficult it is. Now, every level has essentially the same sort of goals, one of them being my personal goal of running over people with my skateboard. Look at this! They're even falling as the cutscene starts. It's just way too genius. With there being so many generic goals that are so similar, I won't touch the ones that aren't super important. To start, Eric Sparrow, your childhood best friend, gives you your little tutorial, and then you're off to skate. Help out a few of the guys around town by skating, you know, because that's how you help people, by skating. And enter Chad Muska, professional skater. After seeing him come to town, you and your best friend, Eric Sparrow, you decide that you guys want to be sponsored by the local skate shop run by Stacy Peralta.
You gotta give me a chance. If I don't do it first time, it's because I'm old.
He's an interesting gentleman for sure, but he could meditate circles around me. He says that in order to be sponsored by his shop, he wants you to show him footage of you skating, and not just the same stuff that he always sees from the people in New Jersey. He wants new stuff. So you go around New Jersey impressing all of the other skaters that are already sponsored by his shop and a part of his team, and then late at night something bad happens. The drug dealers of Jersey steal from Peralta's shop. You offer to help and get them back. Eventually, after you succeed, I suck of course, so it took me multiple tries to succeed at this.
Wait, kid, it's too dangerous.
As well as my frames randomly started to drop during this, and I'm not 100% sure why. Your good friend Eric, who is filled with wisdom, lights their car on fire. They, of course, not long after, figure out that it was him because duh. And you and Eric are forced to skip town and go to the Big Apple. However, in order to get there, you have to grab onto one of the gang members' cars of New Jersey and jump the bridge in town to get to the train station. Why? Because reasons. That's why.
Reasons!
When it's the only train station in town and you're in a tiny sandbox that is half blocked off by cops, it's your only option. Duh! Now you have to tucker out a stereotypical guard and catch the train. Onward to New York. Greatest city on earth, by the way, guys. While you're in New York, impressing the locals is key. You want to get as much awesome footage for Peralta as you possibly can. Now, by impressing the locals, I mean your generic-based goals. Once you've done that, Peralta sees it, sponsors you, and tells you that Eric and yourself need to make it to the Tampa Am skate contest. Now, Tampa is where a lot of stuff goes down. For starters, once you get there, Eric, your best friend, forgets, you can't see my quotes, but I promise you, I'm making air quotes right now, to sign you up for the competition. Now, you're not just trying to impress anyone here, but now you have to impress the pros, skating professionals, and hope that you might be able to impress them enough to find your way into the contest by doing so. Bam Margera, being my favorite pro in this game, he's just way too funny. I can't get enough of that guy. But do a couple goals for some pros here, and eventually, the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Hawk shows up to the competition. You make it your mission to impress him, and he finds a way to sneak you into the Tampa Am. Once in, you do a couple random goals, and then it starts. Once you win the whole thing, every person there wants to sponsor you, with of course Bam telling you that you have to join with his team. He's just the best. I just can't help but laugh literally every time I do a playthrough of this game.
Would everybody just shut up for 5 seconds and let me talk to the damn kid? I gotta give it to you, that run was bullshit. No, in a good way though. I'm gonna have to put you on Element, bottom line.
Once you join the team you want to be on, Bam's team, it's on to San Diego for a demo. Todd is your new manager, and he is a man of charm. Too much charm to fit on the screen, in fact, as well as maybe too much belly. Once there, your player is overwhelmed by a hangover after they celebrate, and in walks Eric Sparrow,
But you have heard of me.
who found a way to join the team without your help. Granted, he didn't sign you up in the first place purposely, so in my opinion, he kind of had it coming. Once you impress everyone in San Diego, Todd informs you and Eric are on your way to Hawaii. Once in Hawaii, do a few goals for some of the locals and get some footage in for the team, and then you and Eric have a conversation where you tell him that you found a secret spot that you want to make your video to premiere at Vancouver for your team. You convince Eric to come up and record the spot. You get some solid footage while up on the roof of the hotel that you guys are staying at, which required you to drain a pool and climb up there because, again, reasons.
Because reasons!
Then a helicopter shows up between the hotel and the pink building across the way.
Because reasons!
Eric begs you not to, but you insist you have to jump from building to building over the helicopter and do a McTwist over it.
Because reasons!
And once you do that, Eric has it all recorded, he shows you the film, and it's on to Vancouver. Same old song and dance, do some miscellaneous favors for the locals, and now it's time for the big skate event, the Slam City Jam, with some ham, possibly some cheese. I hate myself. Once you get there, you pop a squat next to a recent pro who's also on your team, and watch as your video is being played on the screen. There's only one issue. Eric, your best friend, has edited the footage and put himself into the video instead. After seeing the footage, you freak out, which is to be expected. And Eric is named Pro. Prior to the contest starting, the Slam City Jam, you enter your name in, but you enter yourself in as Pro.
You're a pro? They entered you as an amateur.
Someone made a mistake.
Probably the most bad booty thing you do in this game. Or should I say bad donkey? Or terrible sphincter. I've got all the dad ways to say things without getting YouTube angry with me, so don't you worry.
I'm respecting your privacy by knocking, but asserting my authority as your father by coming in anyway.
Once in the contest, the Slam City Jam, it boils down to just two people, you and Eric. Shocker there. Once you destroy him, your manager Todd yells at you for signing up as a pro, but then declares you a pro after winning. Now you get to design your own board. And check this thing out. Again, for 2003, the customization is amazing in this game. Got my initials on it and everything. After getting a shoe sponsor, you go to Moscow with the team and meet up with Eric. You then reconcile and team up to practice for the Moscow demo and show off for some local kids. All's right in the world, right? Right? Other than Bam telling you his love for tanks? Wrong.
Oh, tank. Look at these tanks. Damn, look at these tanks.
You bump into a drunken Eric next to a Moscow soldier, and he steals a tank.
It's so good. We can't go skating right now. Look at these tanks.
You try to stop him and the tank, and he proceeds to hop out of the tank and it crashes, damaging the city wall and blocking you inside. And just like classic Eric, he frames you for it. Todd then kicks you off the team, and the American embassy bails you out of jail. After doing some favors for the local Russians, they help you get home to New Jersey. You meet up with Peralta, and Eric comes to see you guys. Seriously, just kick this dude. You decide you want to show the kids what skating is all about, rather than Eric's crappy way of doing things. You start your own team with Peralta and gather up a bunch of pros. Bam was a must for me, as I love that man.
I love you.
After getting some awesome footage that you and Peralta dub soul skating. Now, by awesome footage, you take all of the pros that you've selected for your team, and they do some crazy stunts in secret areas in each of the levels. A really nifty feature that I thought that they added into this game. It was pretty cool in my opinion. After getting some of that awesome footage with you, you and Stacy Peralta dub it soul skating, and Eric comes back to make fun of you and says that the only thing that you don't have is the original tape in which you were hopping over the two buildings and doing a McTwist over the helicopter.
Remember? Hawaii, building jump, helicopter? That was some sick footage. Too bad no one ever saw it.
You backstabbing, mob flipping cockroach.
He waves that tape in your face and says one last time around the state.
One more time!
You skate his line as he does. He curses you out like an idiotic child.
I'm still better than you! You got lucky, you little punk! Slam City Jam in Tampa were nothing but lucky little bitch! Get back here! You ain't nothing! I know I can kick your ass!
And then you get the tape back. The end. Apparently, however, there is an alternate ending that I've never seen before up until recently. If you do a second playthrough of this game, rather than going through and doing the line, you just elbow the kid straight in the face and take the kid back. Personally, I like this ending better. Thank you for watching Under the Radar, guys. Subscribe if you're interested in better content, because it's just going to keep getting better as we go. I've got more time to upload videos, and I will be doing it. I'm going to force myself to do it. I'm just going to punch myself in the butt until it just moves in the direction that is forward and straight, and I will have more content coming. I'm going to have more recordings going. I'm going to do more things. I'm going to do more stuff, and who doesn't want to see stuff and things? Stuff and things makes the world go round. It's pretty much the reason for mass murder. Not that we do that here, but it's a possibility if we continue onward, because we're going to get a following. I'm just kidding. Don't take me seriously, really. YouTube, don't demonetize me for that comment. I'm not a murderer. Alright, guys, hit the like if you liked it. Hit the bell so that you know when I upload something, because sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Editing takes literally like 20 hours, and it's just a lot of work. It's hard to do. So if you enjoy it, please get the notification button going. I'm going to try to stream on Twitch. I'm unreliable, but I'm really going to try. I'll post an update video when I do it. Just bear with me. We'll get there. We'll get there together. It'll be fun. You'll enjoy it. I'm an idiot. It's fun. Dumb people are fun, and I'm dumb, and that's the definition of it right there. If you look up dumb and fun in the dictionary, it's literally a picture of me, and it's a synonym. It's like synonymous to each other on each side. I promise. So let's do it, guys. I'll see you later. Bye!
What's left of me? What's left of me now?